Hey out there, you like to listen to heavy metal? Oh yeah. You love to listen to In the Pits of Metal Chaos, right? Well, I got good news for you. What's that? They got some new stuff on that show. Oh, really? And new features as well. Really? They're going to be talking about drag racing now as well as heavy metal. Those two go together, don't they? Oh, yeah. I think so. So down in the pits of metal chaos has become the pits of metal and motor chaos. That sounds kick-ass. There's got a great feature if you got one of the new Wi-Fi devices out there. Scratch and sniff. Try and scratch the front of your freaking radio. You're going to smell all the oil and burning rubber and smoke and everything. So listen to Slayer Tanya right here on In the Pits of Metal and Motor Chaos. Yeah! Look at them drag racers go! Burn, baby, burn! Ah, smell that rubber!
Okay, we're live in the Pits of Motorcast. This is your host, Dave. I'm live with Rick Sachsel. How you doing, Rick?
Oh, another day in the jungle out here. Like the rest of them. We're just out riding around like always. I drive a truck, so.
So, Rick, when did you start your career in the drag racing?
Well, me and my brother started drag racing back in 77, I think it was. 70, up there at Union Grove, just had a bracket car, 68 Camaro with a big black Chevy in it. And then did that for quite a while with the same car. Actually, we had the same car for almost 30-some years. I did take off a couple years to go race a funny car back in the mid-'80s. A friend of mine wanted me to drive for him, so I drove a funny car.
Was that alcohol or nitro?
It was alcohol. Alcohol funny cars. Did that for a couple years, then we lost the sponsorship. So went back, took my car off of jack stands, and went back bracket racing up at Union Grove. So then did that. Now, like I said, that was probably got back in probably in the early 90s, I guess it was. And just started racing every year since then. And then grew into what we got now, into the Pro Mods.
Yeah, you've been going for 35 years?
Yeah, at least that long. Yeah, like I said, we started in, I want to say it was 77. So, yeah, it's been a long time.
And currently you got the 1969 white Pro Mod, the Neighborhood Nuisance?
Yeah, the 1969 Camaro Neighborhood Nuisance 3.5. Actually, we got two of them. We have the other 69 Camaro, which was the glass tech body, but this newer one is the Pro Mod body one that I got now.
The other one used to be black, and then you changed it to white?
No, that one's always been white. It was, it wasn't painted when we first raced it, so it was like primer color with a real dark primer, but it's always, my Camaros have always been white. Every Camaro I've had, they've always been white with the black stripes. So how did you meet up with the Chicago Wise guys? Actually, through a kind of accidental. I had built my first 69 Camaro Pro Mod to run when Union Grove used to have their Quick 16 when it was NHRA. So I built my first 68 Camaro or 69 Camaro for the blower to run in their Quick 16, and just about the time I completed it, Union Grove switched to IHRA, and they quit doing the Quick 16. So the only place I could run the car was like at Union Grove or Byron on the weekends that the Wise guys were racing there. So that went on for like 3 months, and then one of the guys, Bob Orsolini, he asked me, because what I used to do is just follow the Wise guys every time, just so I could go run my cars, just do some testing and stuff. Well, Bob Orsolini asked me one day, he said he wanted to know who I was running. And I told him, I said, I'm not with you guys, I'm just doing some testing. He goes, well, we'll see about that. We'll go talk to Pete. So that was, 9 years ago, I guess it was now. It was back in 87 or 88, I think, is when I joined the Wise guys. So Bob Orsolini set me up with them, and been running with them ever since.
I had read that you joined the Chicago Wise guys in 2008.
No, I've been there since 1990. Let's see. I'm trying to remember when I got my car done. I got the 2006. Yeah, 2008. That would be about right. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what they have in the Wise Guys books.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right, because I finished the first Camaro I built myself in the garage, the first Pro Mod that I had,
Right.
the original neighborhood nuisance one. That one I completed it in 86. And then, like I said, the next year in 07, I was following the Wise Guys, and then in 08, I was racing with the Wise Guys. So that's the timeline on that.
And the neighborhood nuisance, the nuisance car Ricky drives, it too, right, Junior?
Yeah, that's Ricky Jr. He drives my old car, the neighborhood nuisance. That was the original Camaro that I had. And that's Ricky Jr.
Now,
and then I brought the new one. I brought the new car out in 2000. I had it built in 2014. And that's a Chris Duncan chassis on that one.
Now, last season you guys had some problems, right?
Excuse me?
I said last season you guys had some problems with the car?
Yeah, the last year was not a good year. I had one crash, or two crashes, a fire, and, we just had a blower backfire, and it lit the thing on fire. We had a few problems with the motor, but we changed our motor program. I found it was the fuel pump causing a lot of my problems. And so we made some changes. Plus, I've switched. I've got two billet motors that I'm going to run this year. 10 cubic inches we've been running, but it's a lot stronger foundation that we're using now. Instead of using the forge blocks, we're going to a billet block. And they claim it's supposed to be a lot stronger. And like I said, we fixed the fuel pump issue because we were just what was happening is when we were running an 8th mile, we were doing fine on fuel, but that second half, the fuel pump wasn't keeping up with the demand, and the motor went lean and backfired. That's what caused the big fire I had right in August last year.
What track? What track was that on?
That was up at Union Grove, and I banged it about 1,000 foot. The thing lit up, and it just burned the whole car up. So we got it rebuilt. It's all ready to go back. It's actually ready to go to the paint shop right now. Got to finish taking some more. We got to pull the wing off of it and load it in the trailer and take it to the paint shop so we can get it all ready for this year.
Are you going to make it white?
Yeah, it's going to be painted the exact same way. The only thing I might change on it is the color on the stripes. I may change that a little bit. The stripes will be the same. The car is going to be exactly like it was, except for that. That's the only change. And like I said, I was thinking about changing the color of the stripes. Just change the color, change the mojo a little bit, because last year was not a good year. We went through a lot of parts last year, so we'll have to just see how it's going to progress. I'm hoping to have the thing painted here in the next couple of weeks, and then start putting it all back together and get ready for our first race. So we should be able to pick it up. We ran. I think the best pass I made at the Grove last year with that car was like a 611, 613, and we're hoping to get it down into the high fives or a flat 6. It's got it in it. We just have to get the tune-up right. So we'll see what it's going to run.
Right.
But it'll be back out there again.
So both cars are full-blown alcohol?
Yeah, both cars are blown alcohol. One's a 526 cubic inch. My car's 526. It used to be a KB Olds motor, and Ricky Jr.'s car, that was a 565, and that was a Dart motor with a 1471 blower on it. So his had a little bit more cubic inch, but that car is 300 pounds heavier, and it doesn't have the aerodynamics that my car's got, so it's it's not quite as fast. But car was really dependable. I mean, it was there every race. The thing was like a bracket car, pretty much.
So what's the quickest run time that has been done in the Nuisance car?
In Junior's car, the best we ran with it, he ran a 710 at like 197, I think, is the fastest we've run with that car. We struggled with it trying to get it over 200, and we just haven't hit it yet. It's just, we're good on the tune-up. We're just, we got to push it a little bit harder to get the 200 miles an hour out of it. It's got it. It's just trying to get it out of it. What the car wants. We just have to go. We just have to watch the tune-up on it, make sure we don't push it too hard, and we'll get it. But it's one of wheels. You know, you just got to kind of play with it if you're trying to make the cars last. But these things cost too much money to go through the motors every week. I can't afford it.
Yeah.
You know, it's a lot of money over the course of a year. And last year, between the wreck I had, the fire, and everything, you know, and 3 motors, it was a bad year. So, just need to be a little bit more conservative on things.
So the plan for this year is to get both cars out there?
No, I think we're only going to be running one car this year. We're going to be running my car, and probably as long as we get Ricky licensed, he'll probably be driving it this year. He's got to get some time in it. We're going to be going down to Bradenton here in March to do some testing with it, and probably again in April out at Atlanta. Go do some NMCA races, and hopefully Ricky will have enough seat time by then, because he hasn't got any time in that car at all, and that's, you know, it's 40 miles an hour faster than his car, so
right.
He's got to get some laps in it before we just turn him loose.
Yeah, true.
So we're you know, because my health is going downhill a little bit, and I'm losing feelings in my arms and stuff. That's why we're going to be putting Ricky in that car. So, and he's a lot younger. You know, the kids are a lot better at the lights than us old guys.
Yeah.
So we'll let him have a shot at it, see if he can get us a championship for this year. I'm really going to shoot for it. I think we got the car to do it. You know, a lot of guys are going to be stepping up this year, but I still think we've got the car to beat this year. As long as we can keep it together, that's the important thing.
Right. So how many crew members do you have for your team?
Well, you've got myself, Ricky Jr., my sister Debbie, and her husband Jim, and then we've got Donnie O'Rourke, who used to be the track manager up there at Union Grove. That's pretty much, and we got Terry Schroeder, and that's pretty much. I've had some help from Tom Dwyer, you know, with my fuel setups. Other than that, that's pretty much what we got for a crew to run both cars, and that's why we were thinking about running one car. It's just it's way too much. We don't have enough people to really run both of them. You know, because there's just so much to do between rounds.
Right.
Not like a bracket car where you can just go to the, you know, cooling thing, cool it off, and then turn it right back out again. These things got, you know, the valve covers come off every round, the plugs come out every round, fuel it up, pack the chutes, and just go over the car just to make sure everything's safe. Just, you know, because that's who's ever driving it. You know, I mean, their life is in the crew's hands, so that's just the way it's got to be. Hey, can you hang on 1 second, Dave?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, it's already off. What's that? Yeah, door 73. Okay. Yeah, I've already got the glad hand's already off, and go ahead, go. Okay, Dave, I'm back.
Now you got your own shop where you do all your work on the cars at home?
Yeah, I do now. I used to have a shop, but now, hang on again 1 second. Okay, yeah, okay. I think I'm done now, Dave.
Okay.
I used to have a shop, but since I retired, I got rid of my shop, and I do all my stuff at the house now. But I've got a nice 4-car garage, so I can pretty well take care of it. You know, I send all the machining out and everything, but I do all the engine assembly and all that in my garage at home. So it's worked out fairly well that way. I mean, having the shop was nice, but it's really convenient having it right there at your house. You don't have to go very far.
Now, I was talking to Vice President Carlos earlier today. He told me to ask you, how do you like running with the Wise Guys, and how do you like all the rest of the drivers that are in the Wise Guys?
Oh, I love running with them guys. I mean, they're like, it really is. Everybody gets along really good. It's really like having a big family. You know, it's your second family. So we have a lot of fun. You know, we always, once we're done racing, at the end of the night, you know, everybody hangs out together, and nobody gets any sleep, but, you know, we have fun, and I really enjoyed it. Like I said, I've been doing it for, 8, 9 years. Nothing else I'd really rather do other than hang out with these guys. So, we have a lot of fun up there. I mean, there's competition, you know, when we're at the starting line, even like me and Tom is my best friend, Tom Dwyer.
Right.
And, but when I'm matched up against Tom, I'm for me. I mean, I like to see Tom run good, but I want to beat him. So, that's pretty much once we strap the helmets on, all bets are off pretty much.
Right.
So, but otherwise, we're all good friends. Everybody gets along really good. So, and it's fun. So like I said, there's nothing. I've been doing this all my life. But just really, that's my passion, what I like to do. So, I wouldn't want to really be doing anything else.
Okay, so I'm going to ask you this question, and if you had a career alternative, what would it be?
A career alternative?
Besides drag racing, what would you have done?
Well, what I have done, I've hauled a bulk cement tanker for 38 years, and that's actually, I really enjoyed that job. I wouldn't change a thing. I'd do it again. I really enjoyed hauling a tanker.
So do you have you have hobbies outside of drag racing?
Yeah, I like to do a little bit of fishing every now and then with my bass boat, but no, pretty much drag racing is what I do it 24 hours a day if I could do it that way. Every weekend is devoted pretty much to the car when I'm home, and I know my wife gets a little upset over it at times about my priorities, but it's my passion. It's what I like to do. And I wouldn't want to do anything else.
So do you have a favorite favorite track that you run on, Rick?
Well, it used to. The Grove is kind of, I consider that my home track, but we've had the opportunity to run, some of these other tracks down in Florida and Kentucky, Indianapolis, Joliet. They're all really nice tracks. Some of the super ones, that the NHRA runs on, and they're really super nice tracks. The Grove's my home track. I've raced at that place since '77, so. The Grove I like going to the Grove. It's convenient for me because it's only 45 minutes from my house, one big thing. But some of these out-of-state tracks, other than the traveling to get to them, they are just super nice tracks. And I'd have to say probably my favorite one is probably down in Bradenton, Florida. The one I like the most. And I'd put Joliet second, and that's the US 66 right here.
Right.
But those are the NHRA tracks, and they're probably 10 times the tracks that we normally run on. But the Grove is nice, and it's a decent track, but we're starting to outgrow the Grove because we're getting to be too fast. It's just not enough room to shut the cars down, and we're having all we can do to shut these things down. And when I run 235 miles an hour, I don't have a lot of room to stop. Really, they're starting to. A lot of the tracks are switching to 8th mile, and that's mainly because of the speed involved and everything, because we just can't get these cars stopped. Even with the chutes and the brakes we got and the technology we got, they're getting to be a handful to stop, and you just need that space to stop, and the Grove doesn't have it. Right. So, but we work with it, throw the chutes a little bit early so we can safely get the thing stopped. There's alternatives to that, or I would love to see them switch to 8th mile. I don't know that that'll ever happen, but I think because a lot of tracks are switching to 8th mile now, and I honestly think if we switched our racing to 8th mile, the competition would be a lot closer, because you've got a lot of cars that are capable of running a low 4-second time in the 8th mile that can't run, like me and Tom. A lot of guys are running in the low to mid 6s, but even these guys that have the high 6 cars, they're capable of running in the low to mid 4s, and it would make the competition a lot closer between everybody. Right. So I think it would be a better show compared to what we've been doing. But the Grove advertises their 200+ mile an hour cars in the quarter mile, which is great, which we do. But we got a safety thing that we got to look at too. So it's just, I don't know if that change will ever take place. I'd like to see it, but time will tell.
Well, I know they're working on the burnout area for you guys now.
I was told they put 2 new burnout boxes in.
They're tearing out
yesterday.
Yeah, I saw the picture of tearing out all the concrete and all that.
Yeah, I just found out about that yesterday. Yeah, I'm glad to see they're making improvements. They did fix the return road last year, and they made a lot of improvements. So, and I'm happy to see all that. But it's still, like I said, this thing with the shutdown area, still got to keep that in the back of our mind when we're running these speeds. Because these cars are like a bomb waiting to go off. and a lot of things can happen at the top end. So you just have to, the drivers have to be careful. That's all. We just have to work with whatever we got.
Now, there's a track somewhere, I forgot what state it was, where they got a cooling system underneath the ground.
Where they've got a what on it?
They got a cooling system underneath the track or something like that. I forgot what state it was.
Yeah, I think it's out west. I'm not sure if it's Denver. It's got the, I know what you're talking. They got the track underneath this pool.
Yeah.
The first, I think it's the first 300 feet or something. They've got, but that's one of what's it, Burton's tracks, I think, that's got that.
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, and it does make a difference, because if you can control the temperature at the starting line, that's one of the biggest struggles that we have with these pro mods is you got to adjust to the conditions, because if you get something, on a cold day, you're making all kinds of horsepower, the car won't stick if it's too cold. But then you got the opposite. When the things get super hot, the cars won't stick. It's really greasy. You're not making as much horsepower, but you can break traction real easy. So you got to learn how to tune to the track. So that's kind of a little bit of a challenge, but a lot of the guys have it figured out. Most of us, it takes runs. That's the only thing. You can do all kinds of work on a dyno and make all kinds of horsepower, but putting it on the track is a totally different thing than sitting in a dyno room.
Right.
Big difference.
So if you were able to go back in time and do something over again, what would it be?
As far as racing goes?
Yeah.
I probably would have stayed in that funny car a little bit longer. But I like my pro mod. I really do. I actually had an opportunity to talk with, when I was out in Pomona, California, with Tom, I had a chance to sit down and talk with John Force for a few minutes. And he actually, it was one of those, question and answer things they do. So, and he wanted to talk to me afterwards. So I was sitting there talking with him for a few minutes, and he said, I'm nuts for driving a pro mod. And I looked at him, I said, you're talking about me, and you're driving that 10,000 horsepower funny car. And I drove a funny car, not a nitro one, but I said, the pro mod car is, I think it's tame compared to the funny car. And he just said, you're nuts for driving that thing. He'd never get in one of those. But I was asking him if one of his grandkids, they start bringing him up to, because all of his daughters are driving now.
Right.
So I thought, well, what's his grandkids going to do? They're going to start at juniors probably. They're starting to get, Ashley's kid is what is he, 5 or 6 years old now? Whatever, they're going to be getting in juniors. So I asked John, would he ever consider getting one of his grandkids in a pro mod? And he said, they're pretty much going to just pay attention to their nitro program. But he said he's not saying absolutely no. But he said anybody who gets in a pro mod's crazy. So that's from his perspective. Like I said, I've been driving them so long, I don't really think. It's dangerous to drive them. It's not the safest car in the world to drive, but it goes with the territory. Driving the funny car was not a piece of cake either. On my bracket car, where I look backwards at that, at 150 miles an hour, that was an easy car to drive compared to what I'm driving now. So yeah. I would have stayed in the funny car. That would be my first choice. That would be if I had to redo it, I'd start in funny car and just stay there.
Yeah, maybe. Would it be a nostalgic funny car?
Well, that's what they've become, unless I had a chance to get into a top fuel funny car.
Right.
I would not say no to it. I'd love to try it, but I'd get back right now. I think, the alcohol funny cars, pretty much anything is a nostalgic funny car. They're actually running, most of the funny cars I'm seeing now that are running the same stuff that we're running, they're running in the 650 range. So we're running faster than the nostalgia funny cars.
Yeah.
So I'd get in and want to drive one, just to have fun. I would love to do it again. I like my pro mod, but I really love the funny cars.
Yeah.
But it's been, like I said, I've devoted my whole life to this racing thing. I've been doing it so long, and it's what I like to do. So that's where everything sits.
So
I just wish I had some. It'd be nice if I had somebody else's money to work with instead of working on my own wallet all the time.
So you have no
sponsors.
You have no sponsors currently?
No, nope. I've been doing it all on my own ever since it started. I've never had a sponsor. I had a couple that I was talking to, that were possibles, but nothing really ever came of it. So, and a lot of that's my own fault because I have to go pursue that. They're not going to just, they may just come to me, but chances are if somebody knocking on my door, I have to go pursue them, and I haven't really ever done that. I don't know what's all involved in it. I did a little bit of reading, and it takes a lot of work. You put in just as much gaining a sponsor as you would working on a car, getting these cars ready to go every week. There's a lot of groundwork to it.
Right.
So
as far as 2017 for your schedule for Ricky to drive, would he be doing just Wise Guys events, or are you looking to do other events as well?
Yeah, we're going to do all the events that the Wise Guys have. We're planning on doing all those, and also the NMCA races that I signed up for. There's like 6 of those. One's in Bradenton, Florida, Atlanta, Georgia, Bowling Green, Kentucky, Indianapolis, Indiana, Joliet, and Norwalk, Ohio.
Joliet would be the Super Bowl?
Yeah, Joliet's that Super Bowl race. And there's a lot of big shooters, but we've got a car that runs with them. I mean, a lot of these guys got the Hemi motors, and they're running, like in the 380s to 390s, but our Chevy motor's running pretty strong. We're running in the 390s also, so we've got, we've got a 50-50 chance at it, just like anybody else does. The fastest car doesn't always win.
Right.
And I'm kind of a holdover. I like to stick to my Chevy motors. I haven't made the change to Hemi. I probably never will, because everything I've got is all set up for Chevy. So, but like I said, we're holding our own with the Chevy motors. We're keeping right up with them. The Hemis are just a tick in front of us, but you can make that difference up at the starting line. That's the other reason I was wanting to put Ricky in the car, because he's a lot better at the lights. I've got, like I said, my health issue is slowing me down, and it's probably going to pull me out of the car at some point. So we're going to start getting Ricky ready to start doing this. So that's where he's sitting.
I know last year at the Super Bowl, only Tommy Dwyer from the Wise Guys was in there?
Yeah, we were still with the Wise Guys when we did that. I was actually, we had, I know one of the runs I had, I think I was up against, was it Josh last year? Or was that the year before we were at the Super Bowl?
I think that was the year before.
Josh.
Yeah, I believe that was the year before. Because last year was only Tom Dwyer in there.
Yeah, because I had wrecked my car, so I didn't have it. That was when I hit the wall out in Atlanta or something. I didn't have it ready. So, yeah, these things are funny. Like I said, something can happen in, just a heartbeat. It doesn't take a whole lot for something to happen. It just happens that quick. So, without sponsorship money, I'm kind of at the mercy of my wallet. When something happens, I got to see if I can afford to fix it or replace it or whatever I got to do to get it ready,
Right.
So, but that's a fun race, the Super Bowl race. A lot of cars there. I think there's like 700 cars on the property, 700 plus. It's always a big show.
Well, if there's anybody listening out there that wants to sponsor Rick, he's ready to be sponsored.
Oh yeah, I'm past ready. If anybody wants to sponsor a car, I think everybody knows that car. We actually even made the billboards in Chicago, I guess, last year for the Super Bowl when they were advertising that race. I was told we had the car was up on the billboard, and then we made the front page of fastest street car in August last year. Made the cover on that, and I've had some people call me just from 4 or 5 states away, wanting to know if we were going to show up at some of these races. People I didn't know. So everybody knows this car. So it's I'd love to get a sponsor. Sure, be a lot easier to run them. I know that.
Yeah. It'd be ease your conscience a little bit.
Yeah, it would make it a lot easier. I know my wife wouldn't stress as much.
So is your wife pretty supportive in your drag racing?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, she does. She doesn't like the money part of it, but you know, we do okay fine. She hasn't given me any alternatives yet. We're not at that point. But she's always backed me up on it. The only races she goes to herself is the local races up at Union Grove because she doesn't like to drive very far. So, you know, and she doesn't want to sleep in the trailer or the truck, so she doesn't go on the overnight ones. But, you know, with a lot of the events that we do down in Florida, you know, those NFCA races, they're on TV, so she watches them online.
Right.
You know, if they're on Bang Shift, and I forget there's another one that they're on, but they can see them on TV, so that's actually pretty cool to watch.
Yeah.
So, we'll see. You know, this year should be a pretty good year. I understand a couple other guys that have been off for a year or two are coming back, so it should be a fun year.
Yeah, I think the Orsolini brothers are coming back.
Yeah, Bob and Joe are supposed to be coming back. I know Gene Nesmith is picking his stuff up a little bit.
Hector Laracuente.
Yeah, Hector's coming back out, and I think the Cruz brothers are coming out. I know Wayne French Fry, you know, Wayne DeFries, he's picking his stuff up. So yeah, it should be an interesting year. Should be an interesting year. But like I said, I think we've got the car to beat as long as we can keep it out there every weekend and keep it running. I think we've got the car to beat this year. But time will tell.
Yeah.
I know last year, pretty much every time we qualified, just about at every single race, when we did run, I qualified number one. You know, I think the only time I didn't qualify number one, I lost to Dennis Frickus down there at 41, and that was an 8-mile race, but I had to pedal it about 4 times. I think I was 1 foul behind him, something like a 418 to a 419 or something like that.
Yeah.
But I think we've got the car to beat. So.
Yeah, and Dennis was the champion last year.
Yeah, Dennis was the champion last year, exactly. So, and it was tight at the end of the year, you know. But like I said, I was up toward the top of the ladder most of the year. But then when the car, you know, when I had the fire and the accident, I dropped like a rock because I couldn't make the races.
Right.
So, and I didn't want to kick Ricky out of his car. You know, now the year before when we broke, I did. I asked Ricky to let me drive his car, so I was up in points. But this year I said, you know, you're in the points race. You just stay in your car, see where you end up, which he had a good year. I think he ended up 5th or 6th. I don't remember how the year ended.
Yeah.
But he had a good year.
Yeah.
So that was his first full year of driving, so...
Now,
we had...
Jeff Fleming was running real good last year.
Yep. Yeah, so like I said, well, you know, let's see how the year is going to go. It should be pretty interesting. We got picked up a few guys that have been absent for a little bit, and guys that are coming back. So it should be a fun year.
Yeah.
I'm hoping anyway.
I'm looking forward to seeing you out there.
Yeah, we're planning on being there. So you know where we're pitted at all the time.
Yep.
We'll be out there.
So, hey, I want to thank you. I want to thank you for your time for this interview, Rick.
I couldn't understand you, Dave.
No, I said I want to thank you very much for your time for doing an interview.
Oh, no problem at all. No problem at all. All right, we'll see you out at the track.
We'll be there. You got any last words for your fans out there, Rick?
Yep, just keep supporting the wise guys like everybody's been doing. Come out to the races and have fun and just enjoy the racing and stay there the whole night and, you know, just everybody have fun and enjoy.
Bringing the whole family out, the kids, everybody.
Yep. Yeah, it's pretty much a family event, so just everybody come out to the track and enjoy. Come in the pits. Well, you know, more than happy to talk to you and take pictures and
put the kids in
put the kids in the car. Yeah. Yep. We do all that. So, and it's not a problem at all. Not an inconvenience. We enjoy it. It's great for our ego. So,
yeah.
So, all right.
Thank you again, Rick.
I appreciate it, Dave. All right, Dave. Thanks a lot. We'll talk to you later then. Have a good one.
You too. Have a good night.
Okay. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Well, that was the interview with Rick Sachsel Sr., done back in January. Dave Kawakami was the one who interviewed him. As you can hear in the interview, Rick Sachsel kept complaining about his arm going numb, complaining about his health issues, which led to him passing away on April 23rd, 2017. And on May 27th, his ashes were spread by 4 Chicago White Guys cars. There was a memorial held for him. And his ashes were spread by the parachutes of Chicago White Guys cars. Rest in peace, Rick Sachsel. Have a good night, everybody.